Hello to everyone that's here. Um, uh, I've kind of somewhat changed locations, trying to find the best spot to basically say what's on my mind. I would say that this is actually quite a good view, especially if I get my pillow here, kind of lean it. Yeah, so it's quite a good view. Maybe if I okay, that's better. Hello to everyone who will be watching this. I see I have a viewer. Hello, whoever you are. Hopefully I get to talk to you sometime soon, if you're confident, because that's what this channel is about. This Twitch stream account, I mean. So far this is my third video. I basically wanted to make a video on, kind of with the title, my experience with the modern LGBT community. Basically, the things I like, the things I don't like, what I've actually experienced myself, and how I think it's changed from like the real activism that went on kind of when we didn't have rights, because that was what the actual activism was, equal rights. So this video is in no way to offend anyone. This is just my experience. If anyone watches this in the future, you know, this is just my experience, my own opinions. Everyone should be allowed to say their own experience and own opinions in today's world and climate. So you might have a completely different experience and opinion, and that is fine. You know, like I say, I encourage everyone to speak on what they think and feel and have experienced themselves. So I mentioned in the second video that I did, I think it was yesterday, I came out at 16. I was kind of found out, but at the same time I was glad I did, because then it gave me an excuse to come out. And before then, I was kind of bullied, but quite teased and made fun of. You know, I would say I had the average teenage experience. I'm no way saying that I had a 100% awful time or my experience was worse than others. Like I say, I think I kind of had an average experience. A lot of my bullying was to do with my looks, my weight, the fact that I had spots, the fact that I had like afro hair when I let it grow, because I had pale skin, and sometimes to do with the fact that I'm like flamboyant, so it was a little bit to do with the gay thing as well. But it was a mix of everything, really. You know what kids are like. So I came out at 16, and I almost had no problems with any homophobia at that time. If I did, I've been told that it's behind my back. You know, I would say that's quite human nature. Obviously, I can't help that myself. I would rather someone obviously tell me their issues to my face, but you know, most people wouldn't do that, so I wasn't too bothered. As long as you don't harass me or think that you can beat me up or do that kind of thing, that's the only time when I cross the line, because I'm very much against bullying. because it just like messes with people's minds. Um, so the only kind of like quote unquote homophobia that I got was if guys, because it was mostly guys, just didn't want to be around me. And I noticed that a lot before and after I came out, that a lot of guys wouldn't be interested in hanging out with me or talking to me just in general. And, that at the time, because I had just come out and because I was young, 16, um, I took it very personally because I thought that I had done something wrong. And that makes you feel like it was a bad thing to come out. Like you feel bad that you've done that when that shouldn't be the feeling when you come out. And then I started to realise that a lot of girls was becoming more chatty and confident with me. I think it's to do with the fact that they wanted a GBF instead of just someone to talk to. But at the time I didn't see it, so I thought they were being nice and they generally wanted to talk to me and get to know me. But outside of college, not really. So I was just kind of going through day by day, seeing people's reactions and experiences about me being gay, kind of thing. Like I say, 9 out of 10 had no issue. So it was quite a joyful time compared to others. But at the same time, because I didn't have a lot of friends regardless at that time, and I noticed a lot of guys were pulling away, it did get me down. So at one point, it was the most joyous moment of my life, and it was actually the most lonely as well. It kind of went hand in hand. Um, and then I think a year or two after, so when I was 17, 18, that's when I actually started going to the gym for the first time ever in my life. And, anyone that's ever started at the gym will know that it's a very annoying to get into because you ache all the time, you feel like you're tired more. But then once you get past that phase of being very into cardio or into weights, you become less strained, less achy, at least in my experience and other people's experience that I've spoke about this too. That gave me a lot of confidence, that gave me a lot of confidence to a certain degree as well, just because I had more energy. But then I started to notice that I started having this thing where I didn't like the body look that I was having. So because I was doing cardio classes, I was losing a lot of weight. And I thought that's what I wanted at the time, probably because of what the societal norms kind of want everyone to be. I would look in the mirror and I would not like what I see, which I think is weird. I had a version of body dysmorphia. I had it when I was in school. Most people don't like to look at themselves when they're overweight and spotty. So that was my first experience with body dysmorphia. And then that was my second experience where I thought that I'd like myself skinny, because I was skinny, and it like really surprised me. But at the same time, it confused me because a lot of people in my family and friends gave me compliments of like, "Oh my God, you look amazing," or "That suit really suits you now that you've lost weight." Then that would really confuse me because then their compliments would almost make me feel better. But then I made the choice to not continue to go to the gym because of that reason and because of other reasons. So then I kind of got back into my old habits and was more overweight again, kind of like how I used to be. So then I decided to go back to the gym about 2 years and a half ago. But this time I went with more of a mission to not be skinny, because I actually like my body the way it looks now. To me, this is kind of the average bit of fat, and I like the fact that I've got like piercings, and I like the fact that I'm hairy personally. So I'm very much a fan of my body. I am the most confident now with my body and my sexuality than I was when I wanted to be skinny. So I wouldn't say this is like fat. This is just a bit of pudginess that everyone has. And now that's what I want. So I'm very happy with what I have. But so going back to what I personally don't like about the modern community and why I kind of fell out of the community, because I don't see myself a part of the community at all. I mean, I'll always say that I'm a gay man and I love dick a lot and ass. Like, TMI maybe, but it's true. Like, love it, love it, love it. So I'll never be in the closet or in denial about anything. But I think that you can be a gay individual and not be okay with the modern LGBT community, because a lot of the things that they talk about, a lot of the things that they spout, is very different to what they once were fighting for, when we had no rights to get married or adopt or have kind of laws in our place in the workplace, if that makes sense. So the first thing is, I know this is what most people want to talk about and are talking about, but I don't really like, well, I should actually rephrase that. It's not that I don't like, because I like everyone. I am not in favour of people forcing alternative genders and pronouns on everyone and making them feel like they have to be 100% on board or else they're a bigot. And if you ask too many questions, or if you're confused about a specific one for too long, then they will turn on you. I've had this happen to me quite a few times. People calling me transphobic for a view that I believe in, but it has nothing to do with an actual trans existence. Or if I was just generally curious about something and I asked a question, and when I wouldn't understand, to an extent, they saw that as like a bad thing. So that is something that I've had experience with. Some people attacking me. I haven't had it a lot because I'm not that popular, but I've had it enough for me to change my perspective on the community. So that, and also something that the community fought for years ago, the LGBT community, was their love for educating people in a way that there was gracious. Like, you can tell that they were being genuine and that they were actually talking about rights, and people did need to wake up in that time. Where now, when people do the same thing today and they call themselves activists, they almost have like this cocky attitude about them that's like, oh, because I'm woke, I'm like better than you and I'm gonna tell you the correct way to be. Where that's not being gracious, that's literally being cocky, and you think that you're better than everyone else. and I don't really like that in anyone, but regardless, as within a community that has had a historic story of being tolerant and accepting. Sorry. Um, Something else that I don't like about the community of today is something that the community used to fight for back in the day was extreme people on the right. Most of them would have been religious because they used the Bible as their source. One of the things that they used to say is, you know, if we allow the gays to get married and adopt, then they're going to go after the kids in a way that's like sneaky, and they're going to want to have sex with like animals, um, or make the animalistic lifestyle sexy. And to most people, obviously, that isn't religious. That just sounds crazy, and that was something that I've said quite a few times to videos that I've watched that people spout that. I was like, oh my god, they're just like religious nutters and zealots. But now that's happening, and it sickens me. So what I'm talking about is, within the community, they have this term called a MAP, which is a minor attracted person, which is basically another word for a pedophile. And obviously that's sick. And they're trying to lump MAPs within the LGBT plus community, trying to make it out that it's a sexuality. And basic gay guys like me that call it out and literally say that's very different from just being gay. You're seen as like a bad person if you do that, especially on social media. Probably not as much if you're talking to someone in person. They'll probably agree, more likely. But if you're in like a LGBT based social media app, or even just social media in general, you'll get more hate for that, literally for saying a pedophile is not the same as being gay, and they shouldn't be lumped together, because they should not. It's very different. And then there's this other name, I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically another name for bestiality. And again, it's like, it's all of these sexy roleplay things. So, or like pup play or pony play. You know, I've seen videos to do with it. So, I don't want to be too judgmental about this, because I have a friend who is into pup play. I'm not going to say his name, but he's gay like me. He's about my age. And sometimes we have conversations. So he is a really nice guy, and he's actually texted me and been in contact with me whenever I'm feeling down, just to check in. So I don't really want to bash on him, because he is a nice person, but I am going to bash his practice in a way. So I have almost like a weird thing about pup play and horse play and every play that has to do with animals. I believe that if you really feel like you were born as a horse or a cat or a dog, and if you want to act like one and dress like one and get into the mindset of being like one, I personally don't have a problem with that, you know. You do you, it's pretend. But everyone that I've seen that is into all of these plays, whether it's pup, horse, kitten play, it's always very sexy, and it's always in like this really innocent way. And that's what I have an issue with, because obviously pets aren't sexy. So it's making bestiality more normalised in a way. Not necessarily the people that are doing it. I think it's their escape, and just almost like a kink and a lifestyle for them, most of them. But the actual premise of it makes people more open to feeling like they can actually do bestiality, and that is my issue with it. I can get some forms of dog pup play myself, so I've seen a lot of people on Facebook who are into pup play, and a lot of them are overweight. Not all of them, but most of the ones that I've seen are overweight, tend to be quite hairy, tends to like leather, and there's almost this dominant and one's a master, one is like a subservient pet, and regardless of the pet and the master thing, the whole dominant and submissive thing, I am into myself, and I do like leather, both in life and in the bedroom, and I do like overweight, hairy men. So I do find myself in a bit of an in between where I kind of take parts of pup play that I like, but then I don't actually like the pup play side of things. So I like the outfits, what people wear, or what the people who practice it tend to look like, but I don't like the actual practice, because like I say, to me it is promoting somewhat accepting bestiality, even if they're not doing it themselves, because obviously it is pretend. uh Kind of the same when there's like a daddy dom relationship. So again, I am kind of into that, so I can understand how someone is pretending that. Because I am kind of into it myself, and because it's pretend, it's not real. But I think where everyone has to be cautious of is if someone takes it too seriously. Like, if a guy is playing the dad, and like, say if it's a straight couple and the girl is a little girl in pretend, if that's all they do, and if that's all, like literally all they do in life and in bed, I would have a problem with that. Like, to me, that is actually promoting pedophilia. Because if that's all you're doing, then that's all you like of your relationship. And if the guy is turned on, even if they're not doing anything sexy, but if they're just turned on with their partner being a girl in practice all the time, then that is the current thing within their head. Um, so again, I get it, because I am into the kind of let's role play being a dad and a son kind of thing. So I get it, but when it's all these couples are, and it's the whole life or most of their life, then I think you have to look into it and actually see if maybe the guy has actual photos of kids, that kind of thing. So they're my kind of quarrels with the most of my quarrels with the LGBT community of today. That, and also the old school LGBT movement was based on libertarianism, and I haven't looked into a lot of libertarianism, but I've done a bit of research into it. And libertarianism is basically where progressivism first came into motion as well. From what I know, it started in the 60s, where basically blacks, women, children, and the LGBT community started to get certain rights that wasn't afforded to them when it was the 50s downwards. So I think it's fair to say that almost every time when you look at an interview or someone talking about an LGBT topic who is in Africa at that time, let's say 2005 downwards, so anything above, no, actually no, I'd say actually maybe 2010, so anything 2010 or below, I would say almost everything what the community was fighting for and said and informed people on were things that were historical facts, things that were actual rights. Because I don't think in 2010, you know, I never got the right to get married and adopt at that point. Because it was 12 years ago. So I would have been 13. So yeah. So no, I wouldn't have had rights back then to marry. So back then and back downwards, they would talk about suicide, bullying, acceptance and rights, which is something that I believe that everyone should have, and that is a very progressive and libertarian mindset to be at. So I believe that almost everyone who is living in England and living in progressive countries want that truly for people. They want people to live their best life, have equal rights, and to be a happy individual. And I would say not long after we got gay marriage and gay adoption, more rights started flooding in to the point where legally now and in life, I'm not really a minority anymore. I mean, I'm a minority to the point where there's more straight men than there is gay men. But other than that, I don't feel oppressed in the slightest. In fact, I feel like the LGBT community now is oppressing people outside of the community. I'm not oppressed. Nothing, no rights from what I know is against me. And I've never had an issue, like, once since I came out. I've had, like, probably the odd name call, but, you know, idiots are idiots. But I've never had anyone, like, beat me up since I've left school. And obviously that's a great thing, and that is what should happen with most people. Yeah. So I feel like the old school left libertarian is actually turning into this savior complex that people need to have, so then they identify within the community even though they're not really in the community. A lot of them don't have meaning in their life. A lot of them are just basic gay guys and gay girls who say that they are a they, them, these, they, fairy, they, kind of thing. When really they're just basic gay guys and gay girls. Because now in the community, the more made up thing and the more of a minority you are in their eyes, the more status and privileges you get. And I've noticed that so much online and in life, that if you even talk about trans, and if you're not trans, they go after you, and they've gone after me before. So that's what I don't like. We went from a community that was actually anti-bullying to the community that actually bullies outsiders of the community. And I'm not a fan at all. So obviously I've said many times, and literally my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel is all about talking my experience as a gay guy, so I'm never going to be in denial about who I love and who I find sexually attractive. I'm never going to be in the closet or anything. But there's a difference between being generally proud of who you are, but then also clinging to that label and making it all of your worth. This is all me, this is all I have to offer, when we should never look to labels to like make us feel better. We need to look within for that, and the community isn't good with that. So yeah, I feel like there's really nothing I can say. I think I've said everything that I don't like. So I think I'm just going to end the stream for now. I'm also going to put this on my YouTube channel. As far as I know, I put the link of my YouTube channel in my bio. So if you want to see my YouTube channel, I talk about this same thing, but it's just got some cuts in it. I prefer it like this when I can just ramble. I have that, and then I also have a music channel where I review and react to music. But obviously, this is very different to what I talk about on the Twitch account. So, if anyone is interested in my music channel, you can always text me, kind of in the chat, and then I'll put the link in there as well. So, like I say, I think I've said everything I need to say. I hope you all have a blessed day. Love yourself, love your opinions, love your body, love who you are, love your mind, body, and soul, love the world, and peace out.